What's up, everybody? Happy Friday night or Saturday morning or Saturday. Wherever you may be tuning in from around the world, we are the Effin' Marks. And it is episode 121.
121 of the Effin' Marks podcast.
Yeah. I am Jay.
And I am Brainless Bob.
And you know what? Couple of pretty damn good weeks of WWE programming. What the fuck? I don't know if I can take this anymore.
I know I can't.
Right?
See what I did there?
I mean, like, Raw was enjoyable. I didn't have to turn it off. It's the first time I actually purposely watched Raw in a long time. So
there was other things that actually happened for the first time in a long time on Raw this week too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get into that as well.
Yeah.
Just a lot of exciting things. Some Roman Reigns news, a new Hall of Famer, the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament. They announced all the 8 teams this week, so I'm excited for that. I'm actually a big fan of that because, you know, I love Dusty Rhodes and I love tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
So it goes hand in hand.
Booyah.
So without further ado, I say we do some shameless
You
plugging.
know, I've always heard about
Unfortunately,
the power
I will not be
of
doing the
Colt 45,
call.
but I was
But that's all right. I'm going to keep
so I
45 rolling.
found out
Billy D. Williams left Colt 45.
I'm going to go with have me a couple of Steve Weisers, which is kind of why I wore the Austin 316.
Works every time. The dynamite taste of Colt 45. It works every time.
And also,
Booty-o! They make sure.
You ain't booty. Yeah. Yeah, a lot to get to with those guys, too.
yes,
So,
very much so. So let's get into this a little bit. So I think that the biggest thing that we have to talk about was the biggest news that came out this week.
absolutely.
And that would be Roman Reigns.
The return of the big dog.
Wow, you just went right into it. You didn't even give him like the. I'm like, I wrote down Roman Reigns makes an announcement.
It's because we're supposed to get the shit and let it roll.
Yes. So Roman Reigns came out this week on Monday Night Raw, and he had an announcement to make to the WWE Universe. And honest to goodness, it was great to see all the fans cheering him. It felt really good. I've finally gotten over how I felt about Roman Reigns and the way that they booked him and everything. So the fact that he came out and said that after battling for a few months, his leukemia has gone into remission, and it seems like he has been cleared by WWE to return to in-ring competition. I think that's good. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't wish, especially with cancer, I don't wish that upon anybody. And I'm glad that he has fought it. He has gotten into remission, and I'm actually excited to see the big dog make a return.
This did a lot of things. I mean, if you ever want to get me freaking weepy, you talk about cancer, you talk about people either freaking battling it or overcoming it, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, you know, it's nothing, obviously nothing to play around with, and, you know, I'm just glad that the dude appears like he's going to be okay. And, you know, hopefully it never comes back again. And, you know what? Supposedly he has a match. It's been advertised that he has a match at Fastlane. They have not said who his opponent is. But, you know what? He looked pretty good. He looked, at least to me, a little bit smaller. But, you know.
Maybe he's just a medium-sized dog now.
Sure. We'll go with that. Yeah. But... No, I was happy to see the big dog, happy for that announcement, and, you know, I don't think he's going to be main eventing in fifth WrestleMania in a row, so.
Sad.
But.
I don't know, I mean, the person that they were talking about having main event this WrestleMania was doing 25 to life. I mean, she got arrested on Monday, and then the women's champion did something else. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but I did want to bring up the whole Roman Reigns thing because a lot of people are like chanting for him to do like the WrestleMania announcement, like when Daniel Bryan last year came out and said that he was medically cleared by WWE to return to in-ring competition, and then he looked at the WrestleMania sign. I swear to God, if he had pointed at that sign on Monday, I would have probably lost my shit too.
I dug the fact that he just said, hey, you gotta crawl before you walk. So, he knows, hey, he's got to wake up. He's got to keep fighting, and seems like he's going to be healthy enough to be at WrestleMania. See if he can have a meaningful feud.
And the way that they were making it seem like, because like after he made the announcement, they had Charlie Caruso go backstage and interview Baron Corbin, and she was basically the way that she was making it sound like, and the question she was asking Baron Corbin. My guess, if I had to guess, you put a gun to my head type of thing, is that he might be going one-on-one with Baron Corbin, and that is definitely one way to get the fans to really support Roman. Not like they really need to for WrestleMania, but if he got into a rivalry like that, like who's more hated right now in WWE than Baron Corbin? The person who hands him the microphone.
Right.
Yeah. And Kevin Dunn. Sorry,
I don't think anybody really. There aren't too many people actually know who Kevin Dunn is.
Kevin Dunn is the fucking beaver. Is a beaver, there, and he's not from like the Angry Beavers either.
Sure. So, yeah, big announcement there, and if Seth Rollins weren't already doing something, I would say that WrestleMania would be the swan song for the Shield, and we would see a 6-person tag match. But Rollins is already busy, so.
He won the Royal Rumble, and he is going one-on-one with the Beast Incarnate at WrestleMania. I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose get involved in some capacity in the Universal Championship match to possibly help Seth Rollins go over.
We'll see. But yeah, they definitely teased a Shield reunion, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, with the flop of Dean Ambrose turn that they attempted. And, they've been saying Dean is leaving. There are reports that Dean Ambrose is advertised for events in May, which definitely goes against, like, there are a lot of people, like, when WWE came out, made this announcement, are like, oh, is this for real? Because WWE never does this. This feels fishy. If he's really advertised for these events, maybe the whole thing was a work. It could have, it could have been a shoot, and then they made him this offer where he's like, yeah, I gotta stay. I don't know.
They were probably like, if you leave, we will fire your wife or put her on 205. Yeah.
So, anyway.
So that was that. Something else that happened this week on Monday Night Raw was I really don't want to go right into the end, but we're going to go from the beginning to the end. They celebrated Ric Flair's 70th birthday party.
Well, one thing that I thought was great with this, they built it up the whole damn show, every break. Ric Flair's 70th birthday party. Ric Flair's 70th birthday party. So when the end came, I think they brought back Big Dave Batista in the best way possible.
Before we even get into that, I just want to bring up one small minor part of that I wanted to say about the party that they were going to have supposedly for Ric Flair. And that was Sting actually looked old. When they had him come out, and I thought it was cool that he shook hands with EC3 and he shook hands with Bobby Roode and all those guys, and he basically just like ignored Seth Rollins like he wasn't even there because he still has that animosity towards Seth Rollins and everything. But I was glad to see Sting. I was a huge mark for Sting back when WCW was in its heyday, especially during like the Monday Night Wars, even before that. And he just looked a little old. He got a little long in the tooth.
Well, he is old.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize for that. But it was great seeing Steamboat too, and they were doing it really. They were doing a great job with it. Triple H and Vince McMahon were going to present Ric Flair with his own customary World Heavyweight Championship belt that they were going to give to him as part of his like birthday present type of deal, and they were waiting for Ric Flair to come out. His music hit, didn't come out, and they panned back to Batista being crusty ass from the locker room, and Batista was like, "Do I have your attention now, Triple H, Hunter?" So, I'm one of those people that I think it's kind of stupid when they bring back these people from like back in the day wrestlers, and give them matches at WrestleMania, kind of like what they did with The Rock a couple times, kind of like what they did with Batista, his last run with WWE and everything. And because you're taking opportunities away from people who have been there the entire year, kind of like the reason why CM Punk left when CM Punk left WWE 5 years ago. But they did this so perfectly. They really got me fully vested. Like, I want to see fucking Batista now. I want to see him come back, and I want to see him and Triple H at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they set this up beautifully, and Batista, the last time he came back, he kind of said he wanted to be a heel, and Vince is like, no, they're going to treat you like this returning hero, and Batista's like, I don't think so, and this time, at least, it seems Batista actually got his way. He's coming back as a heel. He has said that he wanted his last feud in wrestling to be with Triple H and culminate at WrestleMania. So I think we're going to see the end of days, so to speak, of Batista. And he won't ever come back again and show up. No, but this is going to be his last feud.
He's got to go into the Hall of Fame. He's well deserved.
You know that I...
Oh, you mean like when they did for like the
he might come out like for like a 30th episode of Raw, but he's not wrestling ever again after this.
That's So like what they did for like the 1000th episode of SmackDown, where they had the Evolution reunion and everything. And Jax, the Destroyer, by the way. Sorry. Yeah, they did this perfectly, and I'm excited for this. And like I said, I'm not really one of those guys that likes to see the old school wrestlers come back and take opportunities from wrestlers.
As long as they're not the top of the card, I'm fine with it. They're going to be in the middle to upper middle, and that's fine by me. So
that could be the match right before the match. I could see that happening. But if I'm going to sit here and try to predict what the entire card for WrestleMania is, I'm just going to sound like an idiot. Nay, I'm going to sound brainless. Like I've never done that before. I beat you to it. Sorry.
So,
but I think since we're gonna keep going with the whole what happened on Monday Night Raw this week, so we had a match between Ronda Rousey and
Natty in the Riot Squad.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart for a second there. It was Natty Neidhart and Ronda Rousey going up against the Riot Squad, and I thought it was interesting that it was actually Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan that were going up against them instead of what they've been doing with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, but needless to say, what do I know? And Becky Lynch did come out again, and she attacked Ronda Rousey. She got involved in the match, and they had her arrested. They handcuffed her and out of the arena.
Well, the most interesting thing, I think, happened after that. I mean, this is straight out of the Stone Cold playbook, and they're doing it differently enough now to make it fun and make it a bit different. But the best thing to me was, Ronda Rousey with Stephanie McMahon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As far as this goes, because Ronda is not the smoothest talker, but I mean, I'm fine with how she does her promos just because she is. It feels more real, the fact that she does stumble a bit. But you know what? She comes with fire with her words. Like, as bad as, like Baron Corbin's terrible because he sounds like a wooden statue. Where at least, there's fire with Ronda Rousey. She doesn't cut the lines perfectly, but she has that fire. And, when she left that title in the middle of the ring and just said, you got to make this right, you obviously see the writing on the wall, but it's a fun way to develop the story, in my view.
Agreed, 100% agreed. And they've been going back and forth on Twitter too. Go ahead, you got it. I when you got that look in your face, go ahead.
No. I have to go and get a soundbite while you do this.
Do you mind if I pull up what was actually exchanged with them? Because I don't want to be.
Sure. Yeah. Do the thing.
But
so
anyway,
basically, Becky Lynch ended up taking a screen capture from one of my favorite bad movies of all time and ended up putting Ronda Rousey's face on the damn thing, and which led to something else that may or may not happen, because WWE I think might hitch onto this train, because the GOAT,
Oh, hi, Mark.
Tommy Wiseau, has now chimed in and says he wants to be the man who announces the match for the man, like be the Howard Finkel for the match, and announce Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch to the ring, which I think would be hilarious. And I think the only way you can make that completely work is if both Becky and Ronda beat the crap out of him, and if Charlotte's involved, her too.
So basically, Becky Lynch started it by posting her mugshot, which is now a T-shirt on the WWE shop, by the way. She goes, Ronda, you go back and get that belt, because I didn't come this far to collect it from Stephanie. I came all this way to take it from you. Ronda responded, that's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around trying to be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos in the hallway isn't helping. I was like, holy shit. So that was when she, like you brought up, she made the reference with Tommy Wiseau where she photoshopped Ronda's face on, oh, hi, Mark. I know it's not Mark, but keep that F word out of your mouth and concentrate on getting better at this business instead of trying to remain above it. Looking forward to seeing you real soon. And Ronda responded, F word? You mean fake? Fake like your nonsensical BS armbar that doesn't even work and just looks like you're holding the dick you wish you had. Oh my God.
Right.
And then she put, it does look exactly like one now that you mention it, talking about a penis. And I'm pretty sure that is the photoshopped face of her husband, that's actually Ronda's husband, that is actually on the fist.
All right.
So I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, and it just went back and forth with those two for quite a bit. So interesting.
Again, I think they're doing a good job of building up this feud and kind of zigging and zagging. I think Charlotte will be involved in the match. I'd prefer it to just be a singles match, but if that's what they do, that's what they do. It's not that it's going to be a bad match. I just think the feud is Becky and Ronda.
Yeah, that's how they set it up, and it really does. And it's one of the problems I've had with the Royal Rumble in the past, where the Royal Rumble winner, like when Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble a few years back, and then they made that a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it's like, come on. Rey deserves a one-on-one title match. Correct me if I'm wrong. When, let's see, where's
Batista?
When Batista won the Royal Rumble, did he not receive a one-on-one championship match?
He did not.
When,
Chris Benoit.
When Shawn Michaels went from he started it and ended that Royal Rumble, did he not receive a one-on-one title match against Big Daddy Cool, the Diesel?
He did.
In a non-main event. Sorry, I had to bring that up. When Lex Luger and Bret Hart both got eliminated, did they make it a triple threat match between them and Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10?
They did not.
It was because Lex Luger fought in the beginning of the card, and Bret Hart fought Yokozuna at the end of the card and ended up walking out as WWE champion. So I just
at that point I don't think they had triple threat matches, but
no, we don't.
I don't think they existed yet. Otherwise, they probably would have done triple threat match. But
I mean, hell, when Austin won the 1997 Royal Rumble, he didn't even get a title match. Right. It ended up being, I want to say it was The Undertaker and Sid Justice. No, who the hell was it at WrestleMania 13?
Undertaker and Sid.
Was it Undertaker and Sid at 13?
And Undertaker won the title.
Yes, he did. And it was Bret Hart versus Steve Austin.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's right. Sorry. I apologize.
Anyway.
I keep forgetting about Sid Justice because I never was a fan of Sid Justice.
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
That's a hell of a segue there, Cousin Jay. We did get the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. I was actually going to ask you before the episode if you knew how to play the Honky Tonk Man song on the guitar.
I don't, unfortunately.
Oh, that would have been
I mean, I could probably learn it, but I can't learn it on the fly right now.
No worries. I figured I would ask at least. But with that, without further ado, the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame happens to be the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man.
The Honky Tonk Man was the perfect bad guy you loved to hate. You wanted to see get his ass kicked. One of your favorite SummerSlam matches of all time involved the Honky Tonk Man.
Go on.
He went against the Ultimate Warrior in a match that lasted about 15 seconds. Actually, I think it was 21.
Wasn't that when he refused to put the title on, or drop the title to Randy Savage, and Randy ended up getting the WWF Championship, and the Honky Tonk Man ended up getting buried at SummerSlam when he lost the title to the Warrior?
Well, the thing is he kept the title after he refused to job the Savage for like another 6 months. You know, more or less, he said, "Hey, this is going to be the most viewed main event ever," because it was the one where Hogan went against Andre the Giant, and I believe, if I'm remembering right, 32 million people. Wow. 32 million people tuned in for a wrestling match. I mean, you take the height of the Attitude Era and the highest rated thing, they only had like 8 or 9 million people. 32 million people tuned in. So Honky Tonk Man's like, I don't want to lose in front of 32 million people. I need to keep my title. You know, after that, you know, he lost to the Warrior and then was in Rhythm and Blues with Greg the Hammer Valentine. Really did not much anything else of note in WWE. I mean, he's been doing independent shows ever since then. He obviously has made a pretty good living. A few years ago, they offered to put him in the Hall of Fame. He declined them because supposedly, and this was according to the Honky Tonk Man, I've never heard anybody else say this. Mm-hmm. WWE told him that he could not wrestle, I think, within 6 months or 9 months or a year after the induction.
Wow.
And it's like, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, when Duggan went in, they didn't do anything like that to him. And I would say Duggan was at about the same level, or maybe a notch below the Honky Tonk Man.
I agree.
I'd say with Duggan, he had a bit more longevity in the company than Honky Tonk, but like, you know, it didn't make sense, and I don't know why he would have said something like that. But you know, Honky Tonk Man, well deserving of the Hall of Fame induction, and I'm happy to see him get in. I'm wondering if maybe we'll get Jimmy Muscle South Hart to do his induction since he was his manager.
Or it could be Greg Hammer Valentine, who was his tag team partner.
Or his cousin, Jerry the King Lawler.
Yep. But I will say this, of note, though, if it wasn't for the fact that the Honky Tonk Man got that title for 6 months after he refused to job to Randy Savage, when Santino Marella was the Intercontinental Champion, if it wasn't for Honky Tonk Man's run, we never would have gotten the Honkameter, which was one of those special little quips that actually happened in WWE, and I'm actually glad that it did happen.
Yeah.
Because it was fantastic.
Yeah, because otherwise Honky Tonk Man would have had like an 8-month run instead of a 14-month run, and he would not have been the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Still to this day, nobody has touched his record. I think we've had a couple people get to 11 months, 12 months, but nobody's surpassed the 14 months.
Also, back in the, I want to say the mid-90s, probably like 96, 97, his biggest contribution around that time was when he was trying to get a protege. And that was when the Road Dogg, Jesse James, kind of separated himself from Jeff Jarrett and was kind of doing his own thing. And he was trying to get the Road Dogg to be his protege, and the Road Dogg refused. So he went on to try to get Billy Gunn, who used to be of the Smoking Guns. He had just separated from Bart, and he was looking for something. And we had that short-lived version of Billy Gunn known as Rockabilly. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you remember Rockabilly?
So vaguely.
It was so vague, but it lasted probably for like about as long as a cup of coffee and a piece of pie.
Right.
And then, luckily, if it wasn't for that, I don't think we would have ever gotten...
Oh, you didn't know? Yo ass better call somebody! Who are also
in the Hall of Fame.
In the Hall of Fame this year.
but we never would have gotten the Road Dogg Jesse James and the Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws, one of the greatest tag teams of the Attitude, especially during the Attitude Era.
Of any era. I mean,
Any era,
like,
yeah.
the fact that they were near the top of the heap at the Attitude Era, I mean, speaks volumes.
Billy Gunn was one of those guys I thought was very underrated for what he did.
The promo The Rock cut on him is one of my favorites of all time, where he pretends he's Billy Gunn and he's praying to God. But my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. And he talks about, like, Billy Gunn has said, like, yeah, he completely shit on me, but I was laughing my ass off backstage listening to him because the fucking Rock is that good.
The thing about The Rock, and I can't believe we're actually going into a little bit of The Rock, but I did want to bring this up. The Rock can make fun of anybody, and he was so good at it. That's why he is the prime definition of what charisma is and what having the it factor is, because The Rock had it.
Remember when he made fun of the NWO when they came to WWF, and he's like, oh, Chico, and Reza Ramon,
Yeah.
oh, and Big Daddy Cool, doo,
Yeah.
Diesel, and like, just the way he...
My favorite was when I think they did, I want to say it was like some kind of
What's up, Eric?
six-pack
How you
challenge
doing, man?
match where it was him and Kane, and my favorite part was when he was making fun of Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it for... Shut your mouth, you thumb-wearing fatty, or some shit like that. Oh my god, that shit.
Or when he was like, oh, he said Toronto, yay, because he was making fun of the cheap pops. It's great. But yeah, fucking Rock.
Especially with him, the one thing that always stood out the most with me for The Rock was that halftime heat that they did.
Oh yeah,
the
him
halftime
and
Super Bowl.
Mankind.
If it wasn't for him being him, that wouldn't have been as entertaining as it was.
Oh.
I mean, the phone ringing when they're in the office, SmackDown Hotel, home of the People's Champ. Oh, you're looking for Mick Foley? I'm sorry, he's a little tied up, and he tied the quarter around. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Rock!
Or the time when he would get on commentary and just start,
I fucking
go.
love that guy. I know a lot of people are not fans of The Rock. I mean,
No, I don't know that. I don't know if there. I don't think there are too many people who aren't fans of The Rock. It's just more of people who didn't like that he came back and took away a couple of main event spots.
yeah, I also think that people consider him like obnoxious is the word I've actually heard, and I'm like, dude, the dude's fucking entertaining. You give that dude a fucking microphone and he's gonna fucking paint you a pretty picture. You give Baron Corbin a fucking microphone, he's gonna try to eat it.
Right.
Because that'd be more successful than him trying to cut a promo.
Right.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, new Hall of Famer. Good on the Honky Tonk Man. Good on DX. You know, looks like it's going to be a good class that I'm not going to watch.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the celebrity. I swear to God, I've been convinced. All right, so I've been convinced that ever since I found out that I'm not going to be financially able to go to WrestleMania this year, even though it's like a 5.5-hour drive from here, and I've been wanting to go to this for a few months now. That I have a feeling that the wrestling gods are going to take out their frustrations on the brainless one. I mean, they're going to give us Becky Lynch in the main event at WrestleMania. Fucking A, of course you are. Finn Balor may or may not, more likely than not, he will be the Intercontinental Champion coming into WrestleMania. Yeah, thank you. We're going to get a returning Roman Reigns. Yeah, that sounds about right. Obviously, The Undertaker may or may not be there. My guess is he'll probably be there. We're getting Batista returning. Yeah. Obviously, it looks like there's going to be some other things that are going to be happening during that weekend that are really going to make me wish that I was going. Speculation is that it's going to be Pete Dunne versus Walter for the NXT UK Championship. Yeah, of course you're going to do that.
And speculation possibly, and we'll get into this later. DIY explodes.
Yeah. So
again.
That'll be I mean that's less for me. That's more of like Jeff probably wishes he was going to be there for that, but that's okay. I mean obviously, if they really wanted to piss me off and just kind of like kick me while I'm down about this would be the year you put Lawrence Taylor in WWE.
Well, if they really want to kick you while you're down, they'll put Lawrence Taylor and King Kong Bundy into the Hall of Fame for you. right?
Yes, very much so. That would be that would be it. Yep. Bundy and Lawrence Taylor. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, and then I know what's gonna happen. We're gonna be watching WrestleMania that night, and I'm gonna be like, God, I wish it was there. I'm like, how could this get any worse? Yep. Then Austin will come out, and then I'll probably break something.
Or they don't announce an Undertaker match and it ends up being Undertaker against Sting. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or we'll have like a wardrobe malfunction, or Nia Jax will break her leg, and I'm like, oh great, I wasn't there for that either, that fat bitch. I'm not even drunk yet. I'm not even buzzed.
Right?
Let's probably finish this.
What?
Because I have another one. What?
Mm.
But speaking of legends and WWE Hall of Famers, the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament for NXT.
That bracket's filling out, man, and it's fucking awesome.
It's a
fucking
fantastic
awesome
bracket. We'll go a little bit into the actual brackets, like the matchups for it, but I do have all 8 teams that have actually been announced for the
We'll
tag
get
team
into
tournament.
the teams like once they actually start kind of doing stuff.
I could just rattle them off real quick. I mean, like you said, we got DIY. We have the Undisputed Era. We're going to have the team of Aleister Black and the Ricochet. We're going to have Mustache Mountain. We're going to have the Forgotten Sons. We're going to have...
Who?
The Forgotten Sons.
I got you to do that.
You know what? That's what I do. That's 5. We have the team of...
Fabian
Achner and Marcel Bartel. I think that's what it is.
Yep.
I think that's a German guy's name. Then we have the Street Profits. And lastly, and certainly not least, of all the teams in this tournament, it is the team of Danny Burch and your boy, Biff Busick, a.k.a. Oni Lorcan.
Who's the man?
Obviously, that's your sentimental pick to win it, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be my sentimental pick.
Obviously, the winner of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament will get a shot at the War Raiders at NXT TakeOver in New York.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. I'll give my... Oh, I didn't have it. It didn't come out. I'm surprised.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so... But yeah, I mean, that's... I'm always a fan of that because growing up, I was a huge fan of tag teams. I mean, I could rattle off every single one of the tag teams I fucking loved over time, and some of the ones that I thought were fucking retarded, like the Heavenly Bodies.
Right.
The Body Donnas, too.
But the Heavenly... what the fuck do you call it? The Beverly Brothers?
That's who it is. I'm sorry, it was the Beverly Brothers, not the Heavenly Bodies. How could
The thing was, the Beverly Brothers, before they were the Beverly Brothers, they were called the Wrecking Crew when they were in World Class. I freaking loved them. And they still, to this day, they have one of the greatest ending moves ever. I don't know if you remember it, but basically, they threw the dude up and they like spiked his head into the damn ring, and it looked awesome.
I don't know how I could have hated Jimmy Del Rey and the Doctor of Desire, Tom Pritchard. Tom Pritchard's a goat. Tom Pritchard, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Speaking of Tom Pritchard, his brother is back behind the scenes of WWE. I think we mentioned that last week, but you could automatically freaking tell this week because Raw did not suck.
Can I do it? His name is Bruce Pritchard. He does have a podcast that he does, and they show it on the WWE Network. But in case you don't know who Bruce Pritchard is by his
Monday
name,
Night Raw has sucked.
But it did this week.
You are going to know him because he used to be known as Brother Love. I love you.
And for those who don't know, Brother Love was the first manager of The Undertaker.
Yes, he was.
Which was a strange pairing.
Also, Bruce Pritchard, a.k.a. Brother Love, participated in the infamous Gimmick Battle Royal from WrestleMania 17, where him and James E. Cornette beat the holy piss out of each other in the corner until Cornette was eliminated.
And then 3 years from now, the Iron Sheik will finally make it to the ring from walking to the ring that day.
I swear to God, if he is still alive in 3 years, they need to put him in the ring at WrestleMania 38, even though Bobby Heenan is no longer with us, and that makes me very sad.
And neither is Gene Okerlund, which is sad.
It's just as sad to me for both of them, two of my all-time favorites. But having the Iron Sheik in the ring, that would be the greatest thing. And then having been in the ring, and then Brock Lesnar comes out.
Right. And breaks his back and makes him humble.
Yeah, Iron Sheik puts him in the camel clutch.
Right.
Yes, but yeah. So it's great that they're gonna do the.
Yeah, the Dusty Classic is going to be awesome. They have a couple of, I mean, DIY right now I would consider a makeshift team because they have not been more until the last few weeks. They haven't been a tag team for a year and a half. You know, the Ricochet and Aleister Black. It's been the last couple of weeks. They're a makeshift team, but you know they're a fun team to watch. And so
now, if I remember correctly, I think I could be wrong. If it was Undisputed Era versus Black and Ricochet, that would make a hell of a lot of sense about the fact that Ricochet had that match against
Adam Cole,
I
baby.
just blasted us in the elbow. Oh my god, that kind of hurt. You probably didn't feel a thing.
I mean, I felt it, but
Oh god, damn.
my God,
Funny bone, man. You know it's funny bone. And then we had Aleister Black go up against Brock Holt, Roderick Strong.
Right.
And both times the Undisputed Era came out and beat the shit out of each other, and both times Ricochet and Aleister Black came to the other one's aid. So now it's starting to make sense. What they did now makes sense. Obviously, having them in a tag team on Raw this week made sense. I'm not going to go into detail on that because I know I don't want to trigger you right now, but they did have them in a tag team.
They had him in a tag team again on SmackDown.
And they had him in the tag team on SmackDown. I still think there's nothing since those four guys made it to the main roster over the last 2 weeks. Nothing has made me laugh harder than the fact that Aleister Black's debut on SmackDown was against
Andrade. Seeing almost
with Zelina Vega.
like going, come on, Aleister, come on, Aleister. Andrade. Right.
He was banging Charlotte Flair and her fucking deformed titties.
They might not be anymore. But I'm pumped for the Dusty Classic. I mean, the NXT guys always like step up their game as far as like wrestling matches go, and I think this is going to be pretty epic because I think it's going to set up for takeover in New York beyond just the tag team championships being on the line.
Yes, agreed.
So, I don't know. NXT this week, you know, I'm just pulling out my notes here.
Okay.
You know what? Just short little thing. I was really impressed with Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee.
Oh God,
I thought that was a really fun, really good match. It being a double count out, I see this thing continuing until NXT TakeOver New York.
That'll be your non-title match at NXT TakeOver New York.
Because these guys have good chemistry. They're super athletic for being really big dudes, and it was a fun brawl. I loved this match.
I'd like for it to be like a no disqualification, no count out match.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and those two really,
They have good chemistry.
Dijakovic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a problem with it too. I can only imagine what, dude. If there was a tism here, it would be. That would be fun.
Imagine if they tried to pronounce it on the Dan Le Batard show and Stugatz tried to fucking pronounce it. No, he would fucking obliterate it worse than I did.
Yeah.
And I'm like basically Stugatz.
So yeah, I want to see these guys in the ring again. I think we're going to see them in the ring again one more time before TakeOver, and it probably will be like a double DQ thing.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna say, all right, we need a no DQ, no count out match.
And they're very high on Dominic too.
Yeah.
And Keith Lee
From what's that?
And I'll tell you, Keith Lee is just a fucking specimen. A guy his size should not be moving the way he does, and he just really impresses me.
Yeah.
I enjoy Keith Lee a lot. So I'd be a huge fan of them actually getting the match as the non-title match at NXT TakeOver. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if they're actually going to do what I think they're going to do, and that's just kind of combine both NXT and NXT UK and let them all wrestle at New York, and then we could get a really pissed off Big C because then he'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck, Bert? we could have went to WrestleMania this year, and I could have seen my girl Toni Storm defend her UK Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley, and I could have really been
Rhea
happy."
Dunn.
Yes,
Rhea Dunn.
Rhea Dunn.
Right.
By the way, Rhea Ripley had posted a video or a picture earlier this week. My God, she was stunning with those beautiful blue eyes that she has. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, you are a smoke show,
Yeah.
and you can kick my ass too,
Yes.
without question.
Yeah, you don't fuck her, she fucks you.
No, she'll definitely fuck me.
Yeah.
And she'll give me the cab fare afterwards.
So.
And I never
saw her again. Yeah, NXT was a pretty good show. Couple other things that could happen down the line, but I don't see any huge things coming from this.
No, I really don't either.
So, anyway.
I mean, we did have. Speaking of NXT, we had NXT UK this week, like we do every week.
Well,
there was two things about the NXT. Actually, there was three things about the NXT UK show I really wanted to bring up.
every match was good.
Yeah, every match was good. I mean, the main event was whatever the tag team champions are called. I forget the tag team.
The young grizzled veterans.
Yes, the young grizzled veterans with Mark Andrews, I think it is, or Edwards, or fuck, what the hell's his name? The guy I actually like, and I can't remember his name because I'm fucking terrible with names. He was the dude that was actually feuding with Pete Dunne. He won the second ever NXT UK tournament.
Yeah, that's not Mark Andrews. It's the other dude.
Yeah, what the hell's his name?
Whatever.
Yeah, but they went
young
on.
grizzled veterans against Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Yes.
Solid
match. Honest to goodness, Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan are just really underappreciated because they go out there and, my God, they put 110% effort out there, put up some great matches. I will say this, though. I thought it was interesting when they were announcing the team, and it was like at a total combined weight of 389 pounds. I'm like, wow, Cassius Ohno weighs more than both of them combined.
Zach Gibson, by the way.
Zach Gibson, thank you. That's what it is.
But
he's got a tremendous goatee. That's why I'm a fan of his.
So Oni Lorcan actually has been on Twitter lately saying he has gained 20 pounds in muscle. And he's changed his workout routine. I think Danny Burch weighs more than like 180 pounds. I think they're probably over 400. I think that's just the build weight from like 6 months ago when they started.
Whether it's their build weight or their actual weight, they still weigh less than Cassius Ohno, the two of them combined.
I had a conversation with El Jefe about Mr. Ohno today and his weight. But
would you like to divulge that information a little
absolutely.
bit? Yeah,
absolutely. So, Cassius Ohno had a match against Walter. Walter is a pretty tall dude, pretty stocky dude.
263, I think.
And
300 pounds.
They bill him, I think it's 310.
310, yeah, you're right.
He went against Cassius Ohno. Cassius Ohno is almost the same exact height. I'm going to say that Cassius Ohno is bigger around, and they call Cassius Ohno
275 pounds. Stop lying to us. Cassius Ohno hasn't weighed 275 pounds since his sophomore year of high school. Let's be serious for 2 seconds. Cassius Ohno weighs 275 pounds before he puts his other leg on the scale. Cassius Ohno weighs 275 pounds if you cut off his arms, his legs, and his head. Cassius Ohno weighs 275 pounds, yesterday.
The murderer of Meatloaf.
The murderer of Meatloaf. Is that what I said?
Something of Meatloaf. The Marauder of Meatloaf.
Marauder of Meatloaf. My favorite one.
By the way, make sure you like our YouTube page or subscribe to our YouTube page because I actually posted the brainless one and the 26 names of Cassius Ohno that are not Cassius Ohno as a clip specifically on the YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to that.
Also, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Periscope, and follow us on the Instagram at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS.
And that's with all of the platforms. And on Facebook, make sure you like our friends at Daily Wrestling Entertainment. That's where we do the podcast live every week.
Cheers to you, fellas.
Yeah.
And like always, if you follow us, we will follow you back. That's always been our mantra. So
yeah, Cassius Ohno looks bigger than Walter.
It was funny because when I was watching the match myself, I was like, wow. I'm like, they look very similar. I'm like, Cassius Ohno might actually be fatter than him.
He is.
Of course, if they put Cassius Ohno in the ring with Yokozuna, when Yokozuna weighed as heavy as they would be like, wow, Cassius Ohno looks like he's heavier than Yokozuna.
Right.
I'm trying my damnedest to fucking get Cassius Ohno to fucking hate my guts more than Kevin Owens.
Right.
But it's not working because he still eats.
So,
anyway, hold on. So let's say this time next year when they're doing the NXT takeover in, I think they said Tampa Bay. What if they have a scene with Cassius Ohno as he's getting built up for his match and he looks like Jabba the Hutt?
I want to get Chewbacca.
Ho, ho, ho. And they have Rachel Ellering with the freaking, dressed up like freaking Princess Leia. Yeah, that'd be some funny shit. That would be my mark out moment of my wrestling fandom.
Right.
Oh, Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Ho, ho, ho.
Right. Well, so I actually really enjoyed the Cassius Ohno Walter match.
God,
I love matches where it looks like they beat the hell out of each other. And my one criticism, and this is a criticism that goes across all the platforms, too much of the fucking tit for tat thing where somebody punches, the other person punches, somebody punches. It happened in every match on NXT UK. I think it happened in 2 of the matches on NXT. It's like, come on. No. I know the crowd gets involved with this, but don't do the same spot in every match.
One thing I wanted to take away from the Cassius Ohno Walter match, and we've actually talked about this a lot longer.
Is that they ran out of those giant turkey legs that they have at the Ren Fair.
When Cassius Ohno was standing on the outside apron and Walter was trying to lift up his shirt like he was gonna hit him, and it's like you could see the second shirt underneath it, and I'm like, Cassius Ohno probably was that kid. And probably the same thing when he's an adult. Like when he goes to the pool, he goes into the pool and swims with his t-shirt on.
Right.
Like if he had ripped off that basketball jersey that is way too small for him. Of course, anything smaller than a tarp would be too small for Cassius Ohno. I mean, I just could you imagine what that would look like? I think it would look like Chunk. You might as well start doing the truffle shuffle.
All right. So I know this isn't a race, but I always make it a race.
You actually finish that a lot faster than you typically do, too. That's what's kind of funny about that.
That's what she said.
Right. Well, you know what? We can make this. I'll chug that second beer right there.
What?
If I didn't,
I don't want you to get sick, and I don't want you to have a headache.
First of all, I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get sick. You're lucky because I was actually thinking about shotgunning one of these things, but I'm like, I can't do that in the podcast room because we make a mess in the podcast room.
Well, I mean, at least you're not messing up any scrapbooking stuff. Woo! Yeah! Fire tonight, baby.
Yeah, you're already in rare form. Oh, there we go. I can't even talk, so I'm definitely. You're in rare form, and I'm in vintage,
different form.
I'm in vintage brainless form.
Oh man.
But the only other thing I wanted to bring up from NXT UK was that we got Jack Gallagher to go one-on-one with Tyler Bate, and you know me, I'm a huge fan of fucking Jack Gallagher. And I would love to see him on NXT UK a lot more because I think he would be utilized a lot better there than he was on 205 Live.
I think he works better in front of that audience because they're very familiar with him, and it's a style of wrestling they're more attuned to.
I also found it very interesting that he ditched the way he was dressed up before with the fucking button-down shirt and the vest and the fucking slacks, and he actually wears wrestling attire again.
Right.
So. Obviously, he's still a heel because he went up against Tyler Bate, who... It was funny because, I came in from having a cigarette and the fucking thing started, And I looked and I was like, oh, look, there's Tyler Bate, that fucking douchebag, and went to the bathroom. I just don't like Tyler Bate. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? It's kind of like...
He doesn't do the wave anymore.
You know what it is? It's like... Remember in Step Brothers at the Catalina Wine Festival? Catalina Wine Mixer.
The fucking Catalina Wine Mixer.
And Rob Riggle does that scene with fucking Will Ferrell.
I don't know what it is. I just fucking hate your face.
I just want to deliver one of these right into your suckhole. I don't know. You gotta rearrange your face, or I'm gonna do it for you. That's exactly what it feels like. It's something about his face. I just don't like him. I think it's his face. I think I just don't like his face.
All right.
I really
just like Vince McMahon does not like Christian's face.
Right, because he looks like Eli Manning. Because he has a dirt face. And
future WWE Hall of Famer Christian.
And future NFL Hall of Famer Captain Derp himself,
right.
Eli Schmanning, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Giants for God only knows why. Because they just want to see my blood pressure fucking skyrocket. So they could go 6-10 this year and end up with the 11th pick.
Hey, well, you could just not watch them.
I'm probably not going to watch them. If I were a Giants fan and I had tickets to the Giants, I wouldn't even go to the game. I would be like, that's our way of saying, no, we're not showing up until we have a better starting quarterback. And we're going to bring back Dave Brown.
Johnny Manziel. He's free.
Who got banned from the CFL.
Hey, he's either coming to, AAF or coming to the XFL. Maybe he could get all the stuff on his record expunged. That way Vince will be okay with hiring him.
You mean like when Vince McMahon let Superfly Jimmy Snuka get away with murder?
Yeah. Something like that.
But, segueing from speaking of fat pieces of shit.
Captain Cupcake came back.
So they came out and they were going to do a contract signing for the championship match at Fastlane between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. So Vince McMahon's music hits and he's like, Kofi, I like you. You're very, very loyal, blah, 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 blah. But you just don't have the pizzazz of being a main event guy. So I need to get a big ticket guy to come in here. And I have found your replacement. I was like, if the ultimate shade that Vince McMahon could have thrown right there is if he made it Randy Orton fucking taking his spot. I would have shit my pants if he had done that. And I was like, please let it be Randy Orton. Please let it be. And he goes, Kevin Owens. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm going to get into that a little bit.
Well, to me, this is one of those things where Kofi got screwed. But I think in the end, it's going to be the exact opposite. I don't know if he is going to win the hemp title, but I feel that he is going to now be in a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. And dumb luck for him that Mustafa Ali got injured.
Yep.
Because if, they were planning to basically book Mustafa Ali
the way they booked
Kofi, but because Ali's only been on the main roster for a couple of months, he would not have gotten that same reaction. And that reaction, maybe finally this new fucking era that WWE talked about several months ago is really happening, where there maybe it's because of AEW, maybe it's because of a bunch of other things, they're maybe finally listening to the damn fans who, when Vince announced Kevin Owens, how loud was that crowd for Kofi Kingston?
Yeah, they were pretty loud.
Were rabid. They booked this, in my mind, perfectly. In the fact that, Vince is fucked over Kofi, the crowd is behind him, and it's like...
And it couldn't have happened to a better guy than Kevin Owens, that fat piece of shit, coming out there with his tray of cupcakes and his fucking shit-eating grin, and comes out there and signs the fucking contract, and yada, yada, yada. That fat piece of shit. It's like...
He's going to eat that hemp title.
If it's covered in frosting, he will.
Yeah.
If Kevin Owens wins, and I'll tell you right now,
he's not gonna damn win.
I know you always talk about my stupid human tricks and everything, but if Kevin Owens somehow, some way, pulls off the upset next Sunday at Fastlane, the following week on the episode of the podcast, the brainless one will eat a fucking tray of cupcakes.
Again.
Again.
All right. I think the odds are very small.
Never say never.
I didn't say never. I just said the odds are very small.
Just remember, Kevin Garnett once said in 2008, anything's possible. And if the fucking wrestling gods really hate the brainless one, you know what they're going to do? They're going to let Kevin Owens win the title at Fastlane next week.
And then have King Kong Bundy and LT go into the WWE Hall of Fame.
You know what they could do to really make me feel better is if they put the fucking Snooki in instead. So I'm like, all right, well, I wasn't going to watch it anyway.
Right.
I would be angrier if they put King Kong Bundy and Lawrence Taylor in the Hall of Fame than Jeff would be if Johnny Gargano walks out of NXT UK New York with the NXT Championship when we all could have been there. Although we all know what's going to really happen no matter where he is. That freaking shot. We're going to have to probably make sure we have Windex on
yeah.
Right.
So beyond that, SmackDown, like a couple other things, a note for me, thought Charlotte cut a hell of a promo where she was kind of like, hey, just give me the title. You know, Ronda said she, gave up the title, give it to me. So she said she's going to be on Raw. I think this is probably going to end up leading to what will end up being a triple threat match. Again, like I said, I hope it's not, but Charlotte has been doing really good in her role with this, and nothing against her, but I'd still rather see Becky versus Ronda one-on-one. Now, if they're trying to protect Ronda and not have her lose the match, that's the only thing I can foresee why you put her in, but, like, come on. Like, this is supposed to be, like, your number one good guy against your number one bad guy, or, your two top people, and let somebody win. Don't have a third cog in the damn wheel and kind of... Because at this moment, in my view, Charlotte's not on that level.
Especially because of the fact that last year Charlotte was the SmackDown Live Women's Champion and Asuka won the Women's Royal Rumble, and she challenged Charlotte for the championship. And you know what? They made it a one-on-one match, and Asuka finally lost. It's like, what the fuck? Why can't you just let Becky have it? Why is it got to be fucking Charlotte? And I see why they're doing it, because, it's a way for them to make Charlotte back to being the biggest heel that she was. And my God, she's so much better as a heel than she is as a face.
And with the women's evolution, having 3 women as opposed to 2. And again, the match, if they do a triple threat match, it's going to be awesome. It really will be. But if you're talking sheer animosity, the real animosity is between Becky and Ronda. And it has been since before Survivor Series.
Speaking of the women's evolution, we forgot something about NXT that actually happened. The Boss and Manning connection actually made an appearance with the tag team champions for the women's on NXT this week, basically so they can announce that they'll fight any tag team from any show. I really don't know. Unfortunately, when I heard Bayley's music hit, I immediately got up, grabbed my keys, went to my car, and grabbed a cigarette, and was like, I would rather knock 6 minutes off my life than hear fucking Eli and Peyton's younger sister Bayley cut a promo.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't stand Bayley. I can't do it. I never saw the allure of Bayley.
Her and Tyler Bate are going to be a tag team in the next match challenge.
Yeah,
so you lose your mind, and they're going to go against Sharon and Baron Corbin next year.
God.
And they're going to cut promos against each other back and forth.
Why does she need the wacky waving inflatable arm tube man? That's what I want to know. Why does she need the wacky waving inflatable arm tube man?
Because she's fun. She's fun.
The only woman that's worse in the fucking women's division than fucking Bayley is the woman that's so far down the bottom of the fucking shit bomb, and that's fucking Nia Jax.
Until Eva Marie.
Oh my God. I swear to everything I believe in that if Eva Marie comes back and they put her and Nia Jax in the ring against each other, I am definitely going to be front and center. I'm going to watch it, and I'm just going to shit all over it.
I'm going to unsubscribe from the network again.
I gotta get a time machine. I gotta find a time machine. I gotta go back to why I canceled the network because it's fucking killing me why they did it. Because I don't know why I did it. Because they did something that really pissed me off. Because you really would have to do something to piss me off.
You sometimes have wrestling tisms that are, at least to me, I'm like going, not a big deal. But then again, I have my own wrestling tisms where you're like going, the fuck?
Yeah, because to me, I don't have as much of an issue with a champion losing in a
I do when they do it all the fucking time.
Yes, I understand
like
that.
They have lately.
Yes, they have lately, but
fucking bullshit.
I have less of a problem with that. And obviously you have less of an issue
fucking Coco Beware.
Yeah, you definitely have an issue with Coco Beware. But like
the Whalers.
You have less of an issue with Bailey than I do because she just looks like a fucking dirt. That's what she is.
I have nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.
You know what it is? Every time they show Bailey looks like she's about to cry. That's what it is. She looks like she's about to cry. She looks like her boyfriend just broke up with her and ended up with her hot friend Sasha Banks.
Right.
Every time. I'm like, you fucking bitch, shut up. Go away. Nobody likes you. Well, I don't like you. That's all that matters to me is I don't like you. I don't give a fuck if anybody else likes you. You're just a fucking derp.
Right.
Your name is Bailey Manning, and you're the younger sister of Peyton and Eli, which means the Manning family has more championships than Tom Brady. And all of his brothers.
Yeah. True.
But, yeah, once Bailey's, as soon as I heard, because I'm like, they're like, here's the boss, and I'm like, I'm so glad this is not Monday Night Raw because if Michael Cole says it's boss time one more fucking time, I'm going to take an ice pick to my fucking eardrums and blow out my fucking eardrums.
Well, now he has It's the Big Dog back in his repertoire.
He's more annoying than John Sterling, and that's kind of hard to understand, to actually stop.
No. Come back to reality, my friend.
Michael Cole is the worst.
He's not the worst.
Remember a couple of years ago when the Hardys came out at WrestleMania and they made their return?
Yes.
And the crowd is broken and whatever. I'm like, oh God, he makes me want to kill myself. Vintage anything is the fucking worst thing. Then it's the boss time. The big dog. Every time.
Speaking of the Hardys came back this week on SmackDown as the Hardy Boys, and apparently they had like a 1-year option on their contract, and I don't know which side had the option, but the option was picked up and the Hardys are back in WWE for another year.
WWE had the option.
So Hardy's back for another year, and good. I like seeing the Hardys on WWE. I think they could be an asset anywhere they go, but I think WWE's the place for them.
I really would have liked to have seen them come out as Broken Matt and Brother Nero.
Yeah,
because we've seen Broken Matt Hardy in WWE. We have yet to see the actual Brother Nero.
Brother Nero.
It would have been interesting, and I would like to see them come back to that, especially after that whole lawsuit that they had with Anthem to get the Broken Universe to WWE.
Right.
So,
well,
but anyway,
hey, they're still working, so there's plenty of time.
Yes, agreed.
And Matt Hardy is in really good shape right now. Good for him. Like when he was out, healing up from his injuries, he worked his tail off.
I would like to bring up the fact that they keep screwing over my boy Sheamus. It bothers me because he lost the fucking DIY last week.
So you're offended by the fact that your man who doesn't have a title loses a couple of matches, but you're okay with the fact that champions lose matches, and that's fine. Because being a champion, you are. It's okay if you just lose to random teams.
My issue with the way that they've been booking Sheamus has been this. It all started with WrestleMania last year, where him and Cesaro, when the Bar lost the titles to a tag team that had an 11-year-old kid in it. Okay? When Braun Strowman was looking for a tag team partner, and fucking Okada is sitting in the fucking crowd, and he takes Nicholas, who happens to be the son of John Cone, the referee, who was actually refereeing that match. That was fucking stupid. So I was like, all right, that shit pisses me off. It's like, what is WWE going to do? Oh, I know. Let's move Sheamus and Cesaro to SmackDown and then not even show them on TV for months and months and months. And they're like, oh, then we're just going to insert them into the tag team conversation, make them the tag team champions. Great. They're now the SmackDown Live tag team champions, which means you're just padding the old statistics for Captain Goat himself. It's a shameful goat head, Sheamus. And it's like, well, geez. Let's look at all the tag teams that are on SmackDown Live that we can have beat the bar for the tag team titles. Oh, I mean, we have Anderson and Gallows. That would have made a lot of sense. The Usos, that made a lot of sense. The New Day, yeah, that would have made a lot of sense. Sanity, yeah, that would have made some sense. I mean, we could have even had a team like Heavy Machinery come in there and take the SmackDown Live tag team titles from them.
Pretty lady!
So what do? Oh, no. You know what you do? You basically have fucking
a makeshift
tag team of a guy who really shouldn't be wrestling anymore because he's basically going to be taking over the company, and a guy who is better suited being in the singles competition because he's one of your top stars who you are underutilizing the shit out of. And that whole storyline where my father said that he was really proud when I won the tag team titles with you. No, motherfucker, shut up, Mike. First of all, you know your father was more proud of you when you won the WWE Championship. You know he was more proud of you when you won and main evented at WrestleMania 27. And most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, your father definitely told you that he was very, 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 very proud of you when you introduced him to your then girlfriend, Maurice, who's now your wife. Because I'll tell you right now, my father knows how much wrestling means to me. If I was a professional wrestler and all that shit, he would be most proud of me if I was married to Maurice. Just saying. And that just shit just fucking pisses me off. And then, let's see. We'll put him in a match against fucking DIY, who's not even a tag team. They haven't been the tag team in over a year and a half. And we're going to have them beat them, even though fucking Johnny Gargano is smaller than any shit.
Again. You have a bigger problem with Sheamus losing than you have the Revival losing.
Yes, because Sheamus has been getting so poorly booked since WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, well, like, Revival's been really well booked.
The last two times Sheamus lost the tag team titles, it was to an 11-year-old kid and Shane McMahon.
Well, at least it's better than the booking he had after he won King of the Ring. And he wore the terror antlers. And he couldn't win a damn match.
Stop me if we've heard that before about the King of the Ring winner. Don't even get me started.
Oh, hell!
That was
King
the last legitimate...
Sheamus!
Oh, that was the last legitimate King of the Ring that they've had was Booker T.
I enjoyed Regal's run as the king, except for like it ended up
popped.
Yeah. He had his problem with drugs.
Do you know who William Regal beat in the finals to become King of the Ring?
I remember that they had somebody was hurt.
Yeah,
I forgot who it was.
Oh wait, no,
I don't remember. Oh.
It's clobbering time?
Oh. I thought...
No, he beat CM Punk to win the King of the Ring. Because CM Punk got his ass kicked in like the semifinals. I forget who attacked the shit out of him, but yeah. But CM Punk, not 100% CM Punk fought William Regal in the finals for the King of the Ring.
Right.
Talk about people who got in the shaft. Dude lost to Chavo Guerrero. That's like the ultimate, like... That's like losing to Kazarni. Okay, maybe...
No,
okay.
that
Chavo
is
Guerrero...
extreme. To me, Chavo Guerrero is over the Coco Beware line.
I'll give you that one.
Chavo was
Choco Taco.
Yeah, he was a solid wrestler for a long time for the company.
But speaking of Guerreros that should be in the Hall of Fame, Vicky Guerrero definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. She's well beyond the freaking Coco Beware line. I've never heard a human being get more of a fucking She got more heat on her than Roman Reigns ever did. And she tried.
The night after the Undertaker match.
Yes, that was the only other time. But like throughout, like for longevity, nobody got fucking heat like Vicky Guerrero did. And I've been saying for the longest time she would be a tremendous person to be in the Hall of Fame, considering she got her recognition because of the fact that
would that be the first ever husband-wife?
Beth Phoenix and Edge.
True. Right.
Because I actually thought that too, and I was like, oh wait, that's right, Edge, because they made a big deal about it. Because when Beth Phoenix went in, they said that was the first ever husband and wife combination to make it into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Right.
Obviously, Stephanie and Triple H will be in.
Hopefully, Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man.
And I mean, the way things are going, maybe Rusev and Lana, maybe Naomi and Jimmy, or Jay, or whatever one she's fucking married to.
I think it's Jimmy.
I think it's Jimmy too.
Jimmy.
But not Little Jimmy. In fact, Little Jimmy's actually over the Coco Bean World.
Little Jimmy defended the U.S. title this week in triple threat match.
Yes, he did.
It was a really good, really fun match.
My favorite part about that was Rey Mysterio's face after R-Truth won the match, because R-Truth just keeps picking up these wins with these small packages.
Or roll-ups.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, R-Truth. It's fantastic. And like Ray's face afterwards, I was like, Ray, you're the fucking GOAT. I love you. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the U.S. title at WrestleMania.
Maybe he'll have another open challenge, and maybe Carmella will challenge him to a dance-off.
No, they won't do that.
I hope.
You know, it'll be some funny shit.
You know, I'm sorry. Maybe I should just delete that entire part of this podcast, because that might be something they're like, oh, that's not a bad idea.
I actually got an even worse idea that I could actually see them doing. He
Don't say it.
He does the open challenge, and the fucking, I'm not a monster. Yes, you are, bitch. And she fucking comes out and wins the U.S. title. I would fucking shit all over myself. I would cancel the network after that match was over. As soon as you got the 3 count, I would just cancel the network.
Oh, 3 count, baby.
I would piss off so many damn people watching it with me. I would be getting text messages like, "What the fuck? What happened? Why is your account not working?" Oh, back in May of 2015, I deleted the WWE network for some strange fucking reason, and well, this was actually worse.
Right. Because I remember the reason this time.
Yeah. Which is funny because, like, my roommate at the time has, like, one of those photogenic memories, and he was there when I canceled the network, and he's like, I don't remember. I'm like, of all the times you don't fucking remember, you don't remember why I canceled the network. Fantastic.
Oh, well.
Fat bitch. not my roommate, fucking Nia Jax. Nia Jax is a fat cunt.
Right. How's your Steve Weiser?
Delicious.
Good.
Woo!
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've hit on most everything.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll do some good Babbitt and Braidless.
Fuck you. I'm gonna throw my shoe at you.
So there was a lot of good this week.
There was a lot of good.
And thankfully there was one good that stood out way above the rest. But, I mean, the good with this is just real life. It's like, fucking A, man. Roman Reigns coming out and being in remission from cancer. Fucking outstanding. Leader in the clubhouse for Markout Moment of the Year, which, I mean, similar timing to Daniel Bryan from last year. Like, fucking A. Fucking A, man.
I really wanted to say Batista, the way he returned this week. I really wanted to make that my good for this week, because that was just fantastic the way they did that. I also was even considering Cassius Ohno and Walter from NXT UK this week, because that was really good. They actually had a really solid match, and kudos to that fat, blubbery bitch, Cassius Ohno, all 600 pounds of him, putting up a solid performance.
The unsolid man puts up a solid performance.
There, like you said, there was quite a bit of really good stuff that happened this week.
Charlotte's promo, Ronda's promo, like...
But yeah, there's nothing that was...
Wrestling match-wise, like, the referee getting like blown up at the end of the Jack Gallagher Tyler Bate match when they kept on having the 1 count for probably like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. I mean, that was fucking great, but just not on the same level.
And the fact that Lacey Evans keeps coming out here, and I'm starting to think that they're going to do something big with her. That could have been part of
That's what
my.
she said.
Yeah, I follow her on Instagram now, like on my personal account. I've been following her on our shared account,
Yeah.
but like my I finally followed her on Instagram because she keeps popping up in my Discover, and I'm like, all right, that's a sign. I gotta fucking follow her. I did the same thing. I didn't even realize until earlier this week I wasn't following Mandy Rose,
Oh,
and I was like, what would
God's
Corey?
greatest
I was
creation.
like, what would Corey Graves do? Well, I gotta follow her and
Right.
follow her. So yeah, but yeah, the Roman Reigns being in his cancer is in remission is my good for this week as well. So what's your bad?
Kurt Angle went against Jinder Mahal. I love Kurt Angle.
I do too.
He just did not look very good in this match. And like, you could tell he works out a lot still, and he's like, for a guy his age, he's in good shape.
We said that about you too, by the way.
But like, he's just not what he was even like 5 or 6 years ago, like near the last fringes of his like TNA run, like where he was still having like incredible matches. Like his punches don't look good. Like it's sad when like you are a top athlete in the world and then you end up not. And he's still, again, he works out a lot. You can tell he's in better shape than you or I.
I will say this though, his match at WrestleMania last year in that mixed tag match.
Oh yeah, it was great.
He that was his best performance in a WWE ring since he returned to WWE.
Yeah.
And I'm not even afraid to admit it. Like when he teamed up with the Shield, I mean, he was like, it was fun.
It was fun.
It was great to see him out there and everything. But no, his match at WrestleMania, that was his best match since he's returned. If that's gonna be a thing where he just has like these so-so matches every week, and it's like if he wrestles at WrestleMania this year, I'm really gonna be upset because I'm really gonna be like, I really wish I was going because he's on the list of guys I never got to see live that I would love to have seen live. And Kurt Angle's just Kurt Angle and all that stuff.
There aren't too many people on that list for me.
There's 3 really big names on my list: Steve Austin, The Rock, and Kurt Angle. And Edge.
I went to so many Raws during the Attitude Era and SmackDowns during the Attitude Era that I saw all those dudes a lot.
Steve Austin is the only member of my Rushmore that I've never seen live, and I got to meet The Undertaker. And that almost makes up for the fact that I was
But you didn't see his.
Yes, okay, let's not. Please, let's not, because I'm going to get upset.
When he debuted.
Yes, thank you. So that was your bad, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to have my R-Truth, my bad, this week, is WWE. And WWE this week gets my bad because they have been promoting Dean Ambrose for shows in May at the arenas. And it's like, wait a minute.
For a guy who's supposed to be done.
leaving at the end of April when his contract expires. And they've been kind of promoting, like I've seen these things
at
like
WrestleMania where it's supposed to be the end.
Him versus Drew McIntyre. And it's like, then it comes out like, oh, his contract actually ends at the end of April. And it's like, you guys aren't even getting your fucking facts straight. The fact that it took smarks like Jay and I to point out, I mean, not actually us, but like smarks like us, to actually point out that this is what they're doing, or they're promoting Dean Ambrose in May. They're also been promoting Roman Reigns in May. So, obviously, that makes more sense because he just came back. But the fact that you've been promoting Dean Ambrose is either making people think that you're either stupid or you're stupid. Either he's quitting and you were just too stupid to realize that you put him in a promotion for an event and you probably shouldn't have, or the fact that this is a work and people have been calling it a work.
Right.
So, I wanted to bring that up.
Right.
So, what's your brainless for this week?
I'm pretty sure you probably already know this, but I'm going with The Revival losing this week to the Ricochet and Aleister Black. I have nothing against Ricochet and Aleister Black. winning matches on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. What I have a problem with is tag team champions losing matches to non-champions. If I don't even like the idea of them doing this so these guys end up getting a championship match against the Revival. I don't even like that idea, but they're not even doing that.
No, you're right.
They're not even doing that. Literally, like, I know they said that Vince McMahon wants to do this because he thinks the ratings are cratered because it's a bunch of, stale matches with, stale superstars who WWE has failed to promote properly to create new superstars, big superstars. So that's WWE's fault. But they sit there and they take these guys, they put the championships on them and make them into fucking chumps. And these guys had a good match, but fuck. The Revival deserved better than this. The tag team division on Raw deserves better than this.
No, it doesn't. The tag team division on Raw sucks dick.
It's going to continue to suck dick if you keep on doing bullshit like this.
True. But they have no depth in the Raw tag team division. So, my brainless. I really wanted to make my brainless this week. The smarks out there that are trying to convince people and come up with this tinfoil hat theory of all tinfoil hat theories that Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon came up with a fake leukemia story. But because of the fact that I really don't want that to be what I want for my brainless, because it's just going to really severely piss me off in a way I really don't want to. It's one thing to be pissed off for entertainment purposes like I do when I have my fucking tisms out. I really know, because I will, and I joke about it, how I will cancel the network. If I do actually find out that this whole Roman Reigns leukemia thing is an actual work so that they can get Roman Reigns over, I will actually cancel the network. I will never
not watch WWE
WWE ever again.
I have high doubts.
And I really think that Vince McMahon is not that fucking stupid.
It's a publicly traded company now.
It's a publicly traded company now. Vince,
it would get out.
In 30 plus years that I've been a wrestling fan, I have never thought that Vince McMahon is a fucking dumbass. So I will not make that my fucking brainless this week, because it would just piss me off if I did actually think that these fans were stupid. But I will say this, because it just wouldn't be an episode of the podcast unless the brainless one had a non-sober tism blowout meltdown.
Right.
So you're basically building up because you want to have Kofi Kingston be in the main event at Fastlane for the WWE Championship because of the reaction the fans gave him for his performance in the Gauntlet match and in the Elimination Chamber. So you basically have Shane McMahon come out there, and I've said basically a lot tonight. I just realized that. So Shane McMahon came out last week and announced that Kofi Kingston was going to be fighting Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Fastlane. During the contract signing, Vince McMahon came out and said that, he applauded Kofi for what he's done in the past and everything. And I really thought the ultimate curveball would have been if they actually made Randy Orton the number one contender, because it would have been like, oh my God, that is the greatest thing ever. No. Vince McMahon doesn't do that. Instead, what does Vince McMahon do? He drags out that fat, pussy, cupcake eating piece of shit Kevin Owens to be the number one contender at the Fastlane pay-per-view. Why brainless one? Why would that be your brainless for this week? Is it because of the fact that Kevin Owens, with his resume, he doesn't deserve an opportunity to be WWE champion? No, not at all. Kevin Owens, a former Intercontinental champion. Kevin Owens, a former U.S. champion, former Universal champion, former NXT champion, and arguably one of the best stars and one of the biggest stars that WWE
former
has.
NXT champion.
Yes. Kevin Owens is the first NXT champion to show up as NXT champion on the main roster and beat John Cena. Beat John Cena. So he has the resume to warrant a WWE championship match. My problem is the dude has been out with double knee surgery since October, I believe, or September. It's definitely since the fall. And you're just going to automatically, in his first, he just automatically gets a title shot? Just like that? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to let the fact that I have my personal animosity towards Kevin Owens, and I'm going to throw that out the fucking window. But logically, why would you do this? It was kind of like a few years ago when Alberto Del Rio was the World Heavyweight Champion, and he walked into WrestleMania as the champion, and they needed an opponent for him. And they did, I want to say it was an Elimination Chamber match, or a six-pack challenge. It was one of those fucking multi-people matches. And Jack Swagger just appeared out of nowhere. Like, nobody has seen him in a while. He has a fucking new hairdo. He grew out the fucking beard. And now he's We the People. And he ended up winning the match and getting the fucking title shot against Alberto Del Rio, which was fucking stupid as well. How you had a guy who was getting booed by the American fans cheering a Mexican champion. You know, I fucking love Del Rio. It's just, it was so fucking stupid that you just insert a guy who you don't even know if he's actually able to go and actually have a wrestling match. Obviously, it's the same thing, like, because we're coming close to the NFL draft and we had the combine start this week. It's a lot different when you see a guy and how he performs in shorts than it is about him putting on pads. You can't really gauge how somebody's going to be because they did a 40 time in shorts and sneakers and see if he still has that and can translate it into the NFL, i.e. a guy comes out after having double knee surgery, not just one, he had both of his knees worked on. And you just put him in the title picture. That pisses me off. It makes no fucking sense. So that was why it was my brainless.
All right.
So,
booyah. I think we touched on all the key elements here, man. Like, a lot of good stuff with NXT, NXT UK. Raw was actually a solid show this week. SmackDown, a solid show. Just a couple of shit things here and there. A couple of misplaced pieces of WWE logic, a.k.a. WWE logic. But, you know, I think we hit on everything.
I think at some point, probably after Fastlane, as we get closer to the road to WrestleMania, I will be lifting my ban on Monday Night Raw every single week. Especially now that Bruce Pritchard is the lead writer for Monday Night Raw, and it showed that he is a difference maker for creative. So obviously, I think the ban is going to be lifted. Plus, I need to be on top of my game because heading into WrestleMania season, got to be on top of my game.
Right.
But we did talk about Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
We talked about the Ric Flair 70th birthday celebration with the
return of the animal, Batista.
As Dax the Destroyer destroyed the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun.
Thanos.
Woo!
And his 6 Infinity Crystals.
And we talked about the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yep.
And the teams that were announced this week, as all 8 teams are now officially in it. We talked about Becky getting arrested, Ronda dropping the title, Charlotte's killer promo on SmackDown.
Yeah. Changed to the Fastlane main event by Vince McMahon, which screwed over Kofi, but we all know didn't screw over Kofi, did the exact opposite.
Basically, they're trying to turn Kofi Kingston into Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30.
And so far, so good.
And Kevin Owens can still choke on a cupcake.
Well, he can do that every day of his life.
He does. I like to see.
He has a lot of practice.
Honestly, so after he loses at Fastlane and he doesn't have a match for WrestleMania, I would love to see Kevin Owens versus Cassius Ohno in a cupcake eating contest.
Versus Walter.
No, that doesn't
Versus the Dozer.
Yes. So you put those three. You put Otis Dosovich, Cassius Ohno, and Kevin Owens in a cupcake eating contest. Granted, we all know that WrestleMania would then go 19 hours long if that was part of the show. But I like to see them all in a cupcake eating contest, and I kill them because that fat piece of shit loves cupcakes. But I digress.
The Dozer would probably be like, cupcake! Pretty lady! Cupcake!
We talked about how the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time is now being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yep.
Well deserving.
Yes.
Very well deserving, and I'm glad they're going to do it before he croaks.
Yeah.
We did our good, the bad, and the brainless.
Yep.
I feel like we've touched base on everything.
Yeah. Except for one thing. Effin Mark's Hall of Famer, Curtis Axel.
What about him?
You realize he was never eliminated from the 2015 Royal Rumble.
I am well aware of that. I am well aware of the fact that former
Intercontinental
Raw
champion.
Tag Team Champion, former Raw Intercontinental Champion, a guy who's well above the Coco Beware line, Curtis Axel, who could be the first person to actually be in. Actually, he'll probably end up being the second person eventually, but a guy.
Thanks for tuning in, Ben. We're actually wrapping up right now, man.
Unfortunately, but go back and watch the show anyway.
Make sure you like us on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, subscribe on YouTube. The FN Marks.
That for 121 episodes, today, March 1st of 2019, at an astonishing 1,496, Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
And if you're in the UK and it is March 2nd, 1,497 days, Curtis Axel would be alive. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not going to argue that.
So
that is it for episode 121 of the F and March podcast.
I'm Jay.
I'm Brainless Bob.
Thanks for tuning in.
And like we said before, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Periscope, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, FNMARKS. And if you follow us, we will follow you back. I'm sorry.
Or subscribe back and
like
make sure you like Daily Wrestling Entertainment on the Facebooks.
I know I do.
And before we leave, there are a couple of things in the works for myself and in general the podcast that we are hoping come through. If they do come through, we may have some interesting content coming up for you folks in the next couple of months. I'm excited by these things. I hope they work out. And if they do work out, you guys will be the first to hear about it on one of our social media or all of them at some point.
And so at some point next week, I'll have an idea of something else that will be happening with the podcast coming sometime in the summer of 2019. I will actually have a better mindset
Sweet.
of how that's going to work, and we'll definitely keep you all posted. So we got that going too.
Good
So,
times.
like
Lots
I
of
said,
things happening, man.
A lot of things happening. We are the F and Marks. He's Jay. I'm Brainless Bob. Make sure you mark out
With your guac on, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week during Fastlane. Yeah.